I realized that I had multiple simultaneous levels of awareness, that I could see myself kind of like here and step back and look at myself as an objective observer and watch myself getting all this information in my head, having all these thoughts and feelings. And then I could back up from that and see myself, watching myself, thinking to myself. And I would step out from that and see myself. This is when I first realized I could see out the back of my head, because I was seeing myself from the perspective of me as an individual being in this one little space. And then I would switch perspectives and be out here at a greater perspective, while at the same time still feeling like I was at this perspective. And I went out and out and out, and each time I got farther and farther out in perspective, the more ridiculous the perspective below it seemed to me. Ridiculous, but in kind of a cute way, like, oh, like when you watch a baby and you know that they're falling down or they're goofing around or whatever, you think it's really cute even though you know that's not really the way you walk, or you realize that they're inept, but you love them for the ineptness. That's what I was doing when I was having these multiple simultaneous layers of awareness. I was getting a broader and broader and broader perspective on myself and on my life and on everything, thinking all the while that I had really not done a great job while I was in Nanci's body. One of these times when I was out at one of these multiple levels of awareness, I realized if I looked down, I could see this body sitting in the chair, just like this, staring straight out into space. Well, not into space, and staring at the back of the room where there are a bunch of light boxes for people to slap x-rays up and turn them on so you could see through the x-ray. And I looked at that body and I went, huh. I don't know what all that vanity was about. Sure doesn't look like much to me now. And then I realized I really didn't care about that body at all. It was like floor, chair, body. Okay. They all meant the same to me. And then I was embarrassed that I had so little regard for that human that had carried me around for 43 years. And then I'm thinking, where I am in relation to that body, I know I'm in the light, but it kind of looked, to the body, it would look like I'm on the ceiling. But I knew I was in a completely different, you couldn't call it a place. I don't know if you call it a realm, a dimension, I don't think that there is really a human word for it. And I realized I had multiple simultaneous levels of awareness while I was watching this body. At the same time that I was having these observations about it, I was also feeling, embarrassed that I felt that way about the body, and I was seeing this, from the ceiling thing, and all that was going on, all in one instance, all at the same time. And then I thought to myself, well, if the body's down there, and I'm here in the light, nah, I couldn't. I always went through a tunnel into the light, and I didn't go through any tunnel. And instantly, I'm in a tunnel. And I'm in this earthen, gosh, like out in the country or something. It's an earthen train trellis kind of tunnel, the tracks go over the top, and it's all earth here, and then it's concrete, and then it was, I think, dirt where I was under the tunnel. And I could smell, wet earth and dank stuff, and I thought, I know I'm not in a tunnel, I'm in the light. And I realized that instant I thought, you're supposed to go through a tunnel, I was in a tunnel. And I kind of realized I had created that tunnel just by thinking it. So I'm saying to myself, this is the same person who did the review of systems earlier. I'm going to do an experiment. I'm going to think of some other expression. Like, I've heard the afterlife is like this beautiful meadow. I'm in this beautiful meadow. And I mean, it's a real meadow. Have you ever seen the movie Robin Williams, What Dreams May Come? It was like that, except it wasn't paint. It was a real beautiful sky, birds singing, there were mountains in the distance, there was a purple haze over them, the sun was shining. It was gorgeous. I knew I was was in the light. I wasn't in that meadow. So I thought, I created this meadow just by thinking it's supposed to be a meadow. One more experiment. I'm going to assume that I've just hallucinated all this, and I'm back in my body, and I'm on my way over to the James. I was in the University Hospital's radiology department, and they had to walk me over to the James for surgery. So I figure I'm on my way over to the James, and everything's fine, and none of this happened. I'm in the hallway, walking up from the radiology department over to the James. I'm walking with my Johnny on, with this wire sticking out, which I don't think they would really let you do. There was a nurse beside me. I could feel her presence. I could smell her perfume. I could smell that hospital smell, that you can't get away from if you're in the hospital. I could feel the floor under my feet. I could see this orange or purple stripe running down the wall, like this way to surgery. It was absolutely real. It was as real as any of this that's going on now. I had absolutely no doubt that that was Earth, that was physical reality. Except that I knew it wasn't. And I realized that's the difference between what we experience when we're in the body on Earth and what's real. The difference is you're not fooled by it. And I realized I wasn't fooled by these manifestations. And that word came into my mind, manifestations. And I got this huge download of information about what manifesting is, that we manifest physical reality all the time, every second of our existence. And that when we're in the light, we know we're doing it, so we're not fooled by it. When we're in the body, we don't know that we're doing it, and so it fools us, and we believe it is real. And I started getting more and more information about manifesting. And at this point I realized I died. That seemed to be kind of a triggering event, because I'd just been in the light by myself with nothing going on except all these mental things, in my head. Once I realized I had died, I saw 5 more lights in the distance. They were kind of like maybe layers, 5 stacked. And they weren't like round lights, they were like strips of light. And I remember thinking to myself, oh, this is a typical Danison moment. I heard you're supposed to go into the light, and I get 5 of them, and I've got to pick the right one. And while I'm trying to figure out which light to pick, a voice, not my own, comes into my head and says, it doesn't matter. Just pick one and follow it. And immediately after that, there were 5 beings. They were shaped kind of like, a blob of a human being. And they were like, right like you guys are right here, except that there were 5 of them. And I don't know whether they came out of the light or they were the lights. But they were there, and instantly I realized, my people. These are my people. This is who I really am. I'm one of these beings. In my mind, I was calling them beings of energy. I've since changed it to beings of light because that's what near-death experiencers call them. And I guess lots of people see them when they die. These 5 beings made me feel completely at home. I mean, for the first time in my life. I felt like I was home. And I realized how much I had missed it. And how much I had missed them. I knew them. I mean, I knew their names in kind of this ancient language. The only one I can remember, and I'm not sure this is right, is something like Ankaf. I mean, they were all names with hard consonants in them and very hard to pronounce in English. And they were thinking things at me telepathically. And to put what they were thinking at me into words would be like, we had to run ahead of the rest of us to welcome you back. And the rest of us was in English.